like to call to order this special board meeting, the organization of the board, today, Monday, May 5th at 7 o'clock in the Round Lake High School Media Center. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. DeVero?
Here.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Here.
Mr. Jewett?
Here.
Mrs. Klingler? Here.
Thank you. We will skip the Pledge of Allegiance. We will do that at the regular board meeting. Next on the agenda, if we can get a nomination for President Pro Tem.
I would like to nominate Annette Negretti McGinley, President Pro Tem.
Any other nominations? All right, thank you. With that, we will move to the April 1st, 2025 official election results. And with that, I would like to call up Mr. Michael Francisco, Mrs. Margaret Peg Larson, and Miss Julie Lee for the administration for oath of office. State your name.
I, Michael Francisco,
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Round Lake Area Schools, Community Unit District 116.
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Round Lake Area Schools, Community Unit District 116.
In accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
In accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interest by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of the opinion of my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public meeting.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by the majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
I shall foster with the board's extensive participation of community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Round Lake Area Schools Community Unit District, School District 116.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Round Lake Area Schools Community Unit School District 116.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall strive to ensure continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of the student and our community schools to advance the vision around the area schools.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for Round Lake area schools.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Congratulations. All right, thank you, everyone. And again, congratulations and welcome back, Mr. Francisco, Mrs. Larson, and Miss Lee. With that, we are going to move to nominations for officer for position of 2 years. And I would like to start with the motion for the election or nominations for board president.
I nominate Michael Francisco.
I also nominate Michael Francisco.
Any other nominations? And again, asking for any other nominations. With no other nominations, congratulations, Mr. Francisco, as board president. All right, thank you. And next, I'm asking for nominations for office of vice president of the board.
I nominate Margaret Peg Larson.
And confirming any other nominations for vice president. And last call for nominations for vice president. And with that, congratulations, Ms. Larson, as vice president for the board. All right, last one. Looking for nominations for board secretary, please.
I nominate Annette Negretti McGinley.
Asking for any other nominations. And last call for nominations. With no other nominations, I thank you for that. Next on the agenda is the motion to approve for the adoption of existing board policies.
So moved.
Second.
Nominated by Mr. DeVera, seconded by Ms. Lee. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Devera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have the motion to approve the proposed board schedule as listed in the memo.
So moved.
Second.
Motioned by Mrs. Klingler, second by Mr. Jewett. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Devera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
And the motion carries. And with that, we'll move on to public comment. Any electronic comments? We'll assume no. All right, and with that, we will adjourn this special meeting of the board. Thank you.
All right, and I would like to call to order this regular meeting of the Round Lake Area School District Board of Education on May the 5th, 2025 at 7:11 p.m. If I can get started first with a roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Here.
Here.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Larson,
Here.
Mr. De Vera,
Here.
Mr. Jewett,
Here.
Mrs. Klingler,
Here.
Miss Lee.
Here.
And now the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we do have a posted meeting. If I can get a motion to approve the meeting agenda as listed.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mrs. Larson. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Miss Lee.
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will bring us to special recognition and presentations. And first up on that is our Round Lake Exchange Club Youth of the Year and Principal Peterson.
Good evening, everybody. So each year we get the opportunity to recognize, in partnership with the Round Lake Area Exchange Club, one of our exceptional students. And tonight you're going to get an opportunity to hear from the student who is being honored for this award, and you're also going to get to hear from the president of Exchange Club. Come on up, Tony. Mr. Tony Cerna. Tony and I, both Panthers, went to high school together, and it's really great to see that he's giving back to his community in this capacity. But Tony's going to speak about this student's accomplishments, which are many. And we had many students who we could consider for this award, but there's one thing that you may not hear about tonight from either of these individuals, and I want to just share my connection to this student. So this student, I remember earlier in the year, came into the building and wanted to meet with herself and her mother, and they want to have conversations about what we do to provide recognition for our students who are doing great things here. And she really challenged me to be better as a leader. And I spoke about her at the Illinois Principals Association, the breakfast, not too long ago. And I spoke about this as her in her leadership capacity. Like, she advocated for the students of Round Lake High School to make this a better place. And I think that's what separates Zeltzen from the other students who were nominated with, was her leadership capacity, but not to advocate for herself, but for the student body of Round Lake High School, which is going to have a long-term lasting effect, not just on Round Lake High School, but our community as a whole. So I want to bring Tony up here. He has some words to say about Zeltzen Zepeda Solis, and then we're going to bring up Zeltzen as well. I think I said that backwards, didn't I? It's Zeltzen Solis Zepeda. No, I said it right the first time. Oh man, I should have just went with it. So we'll speak about Zeltzen. We'll get a chance to speak, and she's going to have some great words to say. So Tony.
Thanks, Brian. First off, let me tell you that I had the honor of presenting her with the award for Student of the Month earlier the school year. It was awesome to see her name pop up again, and I am very honored to give her Student of the Year. All right, so good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for allowing us to be here tonight to present the Student of the Year Award. Again, my name is Tony Cerna, and I'm here representing the Round Lake Area Exchange Club. Now, as you know, the Round Lake Area Exchange Club, or just the Exchange Club, is America's oldest service organization, with youth programming being one of our four pillars of service. The Student of the Year Award is one of the cornerstones of Round Lake Area Club's, the Exchange Club's youth programming. The Student of the Year Award honors outstanding students who have exhibited excellence in academics, leadership, and service, and students submit an essay on a theme selected by the National Exchange Club, and you'll be hearing from our honoree in just a few minutes. Now, Just another bit of background on our honoree. She has the highest GPA in the senior class. She has consistently demonstrated dedication, hard work, intellectual curiosity, and a passion for learning. She's heavily involved in numerous extracurricular activities, showing her diverse interests and leadership capabilities. She's a member of National Honor Society, the Future Medical Panthers, the flag football team, the speech team, the girls track team, and a Panther crew leader. She's also on the flag football team. She's clearly able to balance a rigorous academic schedule with these commitments, showcasing her time management skills and determination. She was also selected to participate in a summer internship program through Rosalind Franklin University of Medicine and Science. So, this year's theme is especially meaningful, asking our youth in a world that is constantly changing and ever evolving, our youth play a critical role in shaping the future of their communities. From advocating to leading, young people are taking charge and making a significant impact. How have you personally contributed to society, and how do you envision your future in the community service? And now, Seltz.
Okay, so I'm going to start off a little bit differently because I did answer this question in November and I'll touch on it a little bit again, but I also have something important I'd like to say, so I'm going to kind of do a little bit of both. So, for those of you who do not know me, hello, my name is Celsin Cepeda Solis. I am a proud alum of the Round Lake Area School Districts, and in a couple of months, I will be a first-generation college student. I was asked to come here today and repeat my speech from November, in which I listed all the ways I have dedicated my time to community service while in high school, and how I plan to continue this into my future. However, I believe that this moment is much greater than myself. So yes, I have been a part of NHS, I have dedicated hundreds of hours of community service each and every year, and I try to be super involved with my community. But I'm not here to brag about that. Instead, today I created another list, and I'd like to talk about the ways in which Round Lake High School has made me a better person and everything that they've done for me in my time here. So, I promise I normally listen to instructions, but today I tried to take a little bit of a different of a course, and I did ask for permission. So, yes. Throughout my time in high school, I have been involved in countless activities, like we've mentioned, including flag football, track, Future Medical Panthers, Panther Crew, College Ambassadors, Speech Team, and NHS. And all of these experiences, despite how different each and every one of them is, have all led me to the same big lesson: that a life well lived is one led by humility and grit. It is true. We come from a low-income district. Many of us, including myself, have immigrant parents, and will soon be the first generation in our families to go to college. And maybe we didn't have every single one of our dreams handed to us. But one thing that remains true is that despite every obstacle we face, the students at Round Lake High School have always had the opportunity each and every day to wake up and fight to be 1% better. And throughout my time here, I've seen that in each and every student. Thanks to the beautiful district I'm a part of, I've had countless opportunities to improve myself in every way possible. And in large part, that's because of all the support I've received from the educators, staff, and administration. Whether it was Maria Colunga believing in me and pushing me to strive for greatness at all times, or it was Mr. Peterson's openness to receiving criticism and support, or Miss Anna and Trio generously helping me pay for AP exams, to which hopefully by the end of this year I'll have 9 credits for college, and that'll help me, of course, not pay too much, or my teacher's genuine desire to see me succeed and look out for me each and every day. I have learned that while in District 116, I've never been alone. There's a beauty in Round Lake High School that no one around will understand, because we carry with us a sense of genuine and pure desire to see everyone succeed, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So many of our students face obstacles and hardships, some that they talk about and some that they don't. But despite this, they work not only to improve themselves every day, but everyone around them as well. As graduation is approaching, I am now on my way to Loyola University Chicago, and I'm going to start my first semester of nursing school in a couple of months. However, as I leave, I carry with me the endless life and love I encountered in Round Lake, Because for me, this doesn't end with a diploma. Thank you to everyone who has helped mold and prepare us for our next journey. And I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this beautiful place I call home.
All right. Now, on behalf of the Round Lake Area Exchange Club, it is my honor and privilege to present our Student of the Year Award and gift to a truly impressive, and deserving recipient, Zeltsin Zapita Solis.
All right, and looks like we are shuffling in. Our next one up is our Project Lead the Way student capstone presentations.
Good evening. I am Jessica Crone, Director of Teaching and Learning. This evening, it is my pleasure to provide a brief introduction to two of our Project Lead the Way capstone projects. The projects showcased tonight represent years of student work within the CTE department, building prototypes, designing projects, sharpening engineering skills, and engaging in a cycle of constant revision. These projects are the ultimate showcase of our students' skills and knowledge and in our department. And our department, as well as the community, are extremely proud of these students' accomplishments. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to the RC Snowblow group.
Okay. So for the first one was, of course, the RC snowblower, but it's also a salt spreader. So the basic idea of it would be, so you can plow your driveway while also spreading salt on it, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go outside. I see some people here are liking that idea. You can just do that. You don't have to go outside. Pull it yourself, drag it yourself, and you can do it all in one trip as well. You don't have to do two separate journeys.
And then the Metro Station remodel group.
Good evening. My name is Nachar Prum.
My name is Jocelyn Ochoa.
And so for our EDD final capstone project, we decided to do a remodel or redesign of the Metro Station down at downtown Round Lake and Cedar Lake in 134. So what we decided to do was we took inspiration from the Metro Station at Washington Street, the underpass, as well as the Rollins Gateway and the Chicago Loop in order to make our project.
We did come across a few troubles while building the project, such as the materials we used, and also the amount of time we overestimated how much time we had for the underground parking. But we did solve these issues by quickening our pace and being able to quickly and productively go through on the roof and on through the construction part.
but we also did come a few challenges with our project after it broke like a week ago. But we were able to persevere through it, and we were able to stay calm, and we put our project back together and improved it even better than before.
Thank you.
I just have to say that Julie and I were in the community engagement committee meeting and we had to miss your guys' presentation, but the rest of the board members were telling us how amazing it was, and we are jealous that we did not get to see it. So I just wanted to let you guys know that the feedback was amazing. So thank you guys for all your hard work.
All right, next up, we'll go to communications to the board, and first up in that is our organic life presentation, number 3. Jen?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Erica Arlinsky with Organic Life, and it is a pleasure to be here tonight to update you on food service, 3 of 3 for this school year, 2024-25. First and foremost, I would like to introduce you to Kent Bayer, our school, Round Lake Area School District Manager. He comes to join our team with 40 years of food service management experience, and we're excited to welcome him on board, and I'd like to call him up for a few moments just to say hello and introduce him to the wonderful crowd here.
Thank you very much. So 40 years, 23 years of that in school food service, and the last 12 years of that was at Chicago Public Schools, where I oversaw 24 schools and approximately 114 staff or kitchen staff. So this is a little smaller for me, so it's a lot nicer to think about. But I have a passion for what I do. I'm very excited about being here at this district and to work with all of you, the students, the faculty, and to make this the best food service program that we can. And I want to make sure that I communicate and keep things open. I want to make sure I have focus groups. meet with the students and get feedback, so I can get into what people really like and what they want, what they're looking for, answer any questions, and things like that. So my door is always open for anybody that has any questions, and I'm here to serve the district. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to share participation with you for this school year. This time we did a little bit differently. We decided to take a comparison of this school year to last school year. You're very welcome, of course. And on the next slide, you'll see a better picture image. The numbers are very small for me to see on my end over here, but overall, you can see that, well, first of all, to keep in mind, this is August through the end of March, because when we put this together, it was through the end of March. So what we will do for you is next fall, we will do the entire school year. So you'll see what the full school year looks like, but this truly is a better depiction because each month does vary by school days. So this school year, 24-25 is the gold, and then last school year is the blue. So overall, you do see an increase in participation in nearly all categories: breakfast, starting at breakfast at the bottom, lunch, supper, and snack. Here's a breakdown, and the next slides, it goes site by site, but you can see Beach, Ellis, and Murphy. There is a stronger increase this year than last year. One thing to keep in mind too is that the students from Pleviac did move into these elementary schools, so you do see that, but overall on the last slide, as you saw, the participation overall did increase, which is fabulous. The next slide, you'll see Village, Indian Hill, Pleviac. And well, Pleviac this year, we don't have those numbers, but from last year, that's what we had. And then sorry about that. And then this slide, we have McGee, middle, and the high school. Breakfast and lunch. And we also had supper on the other slide too. And then the EEC, you'll see here, snack has increased slightly this year. And then this is the first year that we're doing breakfast and lunch for the younger students as well. So hopefully this shows a better image of where participation falls. And part of that is all the great things that we've been doing. So the next slide, one thing that we're super excited about this year is that the Early Education Center now has a warming kitchen. February 25th, it was open for hot meals. So we started off this year with cold meals, and we were producing them over at the high school and delivering them over. Now the students get a nice hot meal on site. So that truly warms my heart. As you could see some pictures of Happy Kids, this was on the first day that they had some warm chicken nuggets. So that was fun to see that. And we could just do so much more with hot meals for these students. We also celebrated National School Breakfast Week, which was the first week in March. It's truly a time to bring breakfast to light and really get everybody excited about coming to eat breakfast, because we truly do believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It boosts energy, focus, concentration, academic performance, and so on and so forth. It has wonderful benefits. So here's some images of a few different schools, but we had that whole entire week, we had some new breakfast items. One is the warmed up whole grain biscuit with egg patty and cheese. And then the second picture is a grab and go breakfast. And then we have Beach at the right, where she's preparing her table for the students in the front of the school. So they grab their bag and then they head over to their classroom. A favorite for Valentine's Day is the strawberry milk. So we're so grateful that we were able to get that back for Valentine's Day. It always puts a smile on the kids' faces because it's definitely a nice treat for them. So that was special. We participated another night in World Language Night, and that's bless you. It's a fun evening. We were able to help in partnership with Round Lake area schools just to provide the food service equipment for the other tables set up, sanitation, basically in order just to help assist them with setting up their tables and whatnot. And then Organic Life also had a table featuring one of our new menu items. So we decided to display the ramen bar with a choice of veggie or chicken broth, toppings, sauces, etc. So you can see that there. We acknowledged School Hero Day, which was last Friday. It's a day that our food service employees have a day to acknowledge them, if you will, and we wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that we provided. It was just a nice day to celebrate them because we appreciate everything that they do for our kids and our community. And so we had little what we called survival kits with like little hand sanitizers, a pen, notebook and whatnot. But we know that they certainly make a difference in all these students to be able to serve them breakfast and lunch each day, and supper and snack in our case as well. Coming up, we are excited that this year, next Tuesday, we have what we call a pasta challenge. Many of you might be familiar with the pizza challenge. This is going to be new. It's a pasta challenge, and we do invite you to participate if anybody is interested in judging. It's going to be next Tuesday, and it starts at 3:30, but the judging won't begin until 5 p.m. So we are extending that invitation to any judges. More than welcome, but it will be over at the high school. And students will be able to pick their, with a little education, food service, safety, and all that, they'll be able to pick their noodles and their sauces and toppings and whatnot. And it'll be a fun time to pick the best or pasta. I mean, even though they're all going to be great, I'm sure. Also looking ahead into next school year, but we have started the process. We are looking to do a signage refresh, which is we've already gone to the different cafeteria spaces in the different schools to reevaluate really and see what we want to do to like revamp, refresh, just to maybe make it look a little bit cleaner, I would say, with some signage, any materials that we want to refresh. Equipment evaluation project is another one project in our plans where we've conducted a walkthrough of the schools and the sites as well in the kitchens to see what we can do to better improve our equipment needs at the buildings. We are looking at the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program grant, which is an opportunity to introduce students with fresh fruits and vegetables outside of the breakfast and lunch program. Traditionally it's served in the classroom outside of those meals. Along with that, the school breakfast expansion grant, which really gives us the opportunity to expand our breakfast menu for next year, which we are looking to do, bringing more proteins to the breakfast menu and more hot meal proteins for breakfast. So we're excited about that. And that concludes our update for this evening. Again, we are thankful and grateful for the opportunity to serve the students here at Round Lake Area School District 116. So thank you.
Does the board have any questions?
I do have a question.
Yes.
First, thank you for dinner. It was wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. Of course.
The signage refresh, what is your timeline for that we might see this actually implemented?
Well, so our plan was, so I would say probably over the summer, if we do anything heading into the school year, it probably won't be much of anything. It's nothing crazy, of course. It's like easy signs, but we will run everything through the school district administration to approve anything that we do. But it should be pretty simple. And I would think that over the summer, if we were to do anything at any of the schools, it would be over the summer into the school year.
Is that the same timeline for the equipment evaluation project as well, or
That could take a little bit longer. Yeah.
But is it something that would be done this calendar year, or when would
the equipment? I would probably think into next school year, possibly, and we will work with T and the school district to determine the needs, and then of course with I don't know if you want to chime in here at all, T.
Excuse me. As you probably are aware, any proceeds that we receive from our food service program have to go back into our food service program. So in other words, you can't charge $5 a meal or charge them $5 a meal and get reimbursement for $7 a meal and then pocket that money. So what we would be doing is, as they bring their needs list to us, we would look at our fund balance in the food service fund to see what we have available to then make the determination on what we could fund for their program or for the equipment needs. So that's kind of how the funding would work, but first, they're doing the initial steps of going through and taking a look at all of our equipment, just to see where we are and what needs we have.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, T, for the clarification. Yeah, that's a little bit more of a longer process, but yes, we will work closely together to see what we can do.
First off, thank you for the comparisons.
You're very welcome.
Right away, I'm like, yes, I appreciate it.
Of course.
The whole scope. The next question is a little bit, it might be for Don, it might be for T, and it may be maybe nobody can answer this. So, with the proposed change in federal funding, in terms of from a free school lunch and that sort of thing, have you are there any, have you thought about, are we planning for contingency? Is it too early for that? How are we thinking about that at this point?
So I would just say from the funding aspect, T is connected to IASBO. I am connected to multiple superintendent groups. We haven't heard anything yet about federal government's decisions and its impact on food service to the point where we don't even know what it looks like. So at the superintendent level, we're keeping our ears open and eyes open. And if I at all sense something could happen, the board will be the first to know. T will hear it through her organization, and we will figure out what that looks like. From everything I gather, the state superintendent is he's not eager to just capitulate and follow whatever the directive is. School districts, it's like, except with the exception of COVID, I mean, we had to make a split decision, but I think there's an interest in giving us some type of soft landing with whatever it is. And to be frank, that's why you have cash reserves here. That's why we have the fund balance we do. That's precisely what it would be for, is something unexpected, unplanned. We have the money to account for whatever we need, but we're not hearing anything right now. Are you, T?
Correct. I'm not hearing anything at this point either.
And I am not as well either on the food service end. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, next up is Dr. Shear.
All right, good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. As promised, way back when, we were going to have a recruitment and retention plan put together. And so now wanted to walk you through what our initial thinking is and what we plan to explore over this next year as we set goals and we target our ambitions. So on the first slide, just to kind of ground us in a recruitment and retention plan is, of course, our strategic goals. Mine specifically are theme F, goal 1. And then there's 3 different strategies in there, as you can see on the slide, of things that we are working towards in terms of securing, attracting, recruiting, and retaining effective staff members. And those updates are always in that strategic planning document each month. And then the next slide excuse me, is centered around the social emotional development of our staff, on the staff side, of course, for HR, that we provide resources and supports for staff well-being. And so I'm grounded under those two specific goals. And so from that, I started working with my team. I started working with the union president, brought it to the cabinet, have really tried to work through this and flesh this out, because it's not a straightforward, easy path, and really looking at it from the potential of opportunities that we can explore at this point. And as I understand it, a plan has not been in place in the HR department in the past, so we're really starting from ground zero on that. Okay. The next slide, just as the final grounding slide before we get into the specifics, is the key focus areas. And so you're going to see in parentheses that acronym KFA. I refer to KFAs along the way, so we wanted to make sure that we connected you to that particular acronym. We tried to eliminate all of the rest, but as you'll see, we have KFAs for each thing that we're doing. So we're targeting recruitment. We're targeting retention, and we're doing so with an eye on those types of pipelines and grow your own programs. Some equity-driven practices, which we already have in the district, but we're going to take that process and overlay that onto the HR mindset. And then finally, really getting into that data-informed decision-making. So we have these systems like Q Skyward that we have underutilized in this particular avenue. We're also going to have a whole series of things that we can get from Red Rover. So there's a bunch of things that we're going to be able to talk about as far as our data-driven process. So first and foremost, we want to look at what is our current success. We have quite a few successes, I feel, but really trying to encapsulate them into one slide really focuses on a targeted recruitment. In particular, we have worked very diligently on bringing that software focus into the department, that automation and integration, specifically the work that we're embarking on with Red Rover that we're very excited about. And in Red Rover, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but there are some things that help us with that targeted recruitment. We also have virtual and in-person recruitment dates that we in the past have gone to, had minimized to some degree over the last year or two, and then we're bringing that focus back. Particularly this Thursday, as a matter of fact, is a massive virtual job fair recruitment that we are hosting with our partners at Radiancy. That's a program that we purchased over a couple years ago and have really not fulfilled its promise of what it can do. And now we're really doing a major initiative with this virtual fair this coming week. We're really excited about it. It means that a bunch of us are going to be in various different virtual booths to be able to talk to our candidates about what we offer in a variety of different settings, whether it be in the educational part of the setting, the operational part of the setting, benefits and salary, all of those things we're going to be able to really target what people are interested in knowing about being here at Round Lake. So we're very excited about this opportunity and what it could present for us in the future as we keep expanding those virtual possibilities. Strategic retention, specifically, we've formulated that wellness committee. And in that, we have already hired our wellness captain and our coaches and have started on that path of planning and preparation for next year in terms of our themes, in terms of our activities, and ultimately that kickoff event on October 10th. So we're very excited about that. Bloom Board, as you may well remember, I presented on this the last time. Bloom Board is our pathway for current licensed teachers to get either their special education endorsement or their ESL endorsement. We've just finished up, we're just finishing up our first cohort. We're moving into our second one this fall. We just had our information night last week. And we're really excited about already seeing some results on people signing up for that and being very interested in that. I will have some data on that as you had requested. We did get the survey results back. Just got to pull that all together for you. And then we have a weekly spotlight and monthly drawing through a partnership we have with our communications department with Ms. LeBlanc and Ms. Durham, who help us really highlight in our weekly newsletter, but also our monthly drawing for those teachers that get picked for special recognition. So that's an exciting piece. Again, our internal pipelines and our Grow Your Own is going to be our AUSL, which is our Academy for Urban School Leadership. If you recall, we brought that MOU to you in the fall, where current staff members who are not certified, who have a bachelor's degree but are not certified to teach, have signed up and are working with the Academy for Urban School Leadership to embark on getting their special education endorsement and their licensure at the same time. And that's that 1-year residency where these staff members are going to come out of their jobs, go into this very intensified 1-year residency with mentors in our buildings, and really learn the craft of teaching and the art of special education, and then be ready to take on positions the following fall. So that's really exciting. Our mentors and our residents have now been revealed. They've met each other. They're very excited. They're starting some trainings this summer for the mentors. They are starting their classwork for the residents, and all of that to head into this fall for an exciting student teaching experience. So we're really very excited about all of the things that we currently are doing. And as part of our current landscape, we know that this is all important because we have such a need in particularly special education, as we know, bilingual and ESL, but there are also other concerns that we need to be paying attention to. The number of psychologists, social workers, speech paths, which are our related services. We have a focus on trying to connect with that group in order to make sure that we can fulfill those positions. But then there's also bus drivers and substitutes, which I understand we call guest teachers here. For the first time I heard about that. So we're going to change back to that. I'm sorry, I didn't know, but we're excited to really think about them as guest teachers instead of substitutes. So we'll be seeing that more and more as we go forward. And then just our overall staffing challenges in those areas really impact our students and our operations. So that's our current landscape. We want to be able to focus on where we're at in both settings. So remember I said KFAs are coming up. Here's our first KFA. Our key focus area number 1 is our recruitment strategy. Again, looking at theme F, building partnerships with diverse institutions. And so all of the slides from here on out are things that we are considering. We don't have true plans on every front at this point, but some things that have come out of discussions along the way include like collaborating with historically Black colleges and universities, Hispanic serving institutions and community organizations. Those seem like, well, most of those kinds of institutions might be East or West Coast. That's part of a broader concept of looking first at building our internal work within the state of Illinois. Let's work with our teacher programs here internally. Then let's take another concentric circle out in the Midwest and really focus in on those type of partnerships where it's very strategic in how we look at partnerships in the Midwest. And finally, then branching out into the coast and seeing what kinds of partnerships might be available if we work with those types of student organizations, those types of colleges to say, you know, Round Lake may feel like in the middle of nowhere to you, but let's highlight what Round Lake is in the bigger picture and what you can do here at Round Lake. So that's more long-term of a potential process, but I think it's important to reach out into those specific types of organizations to bring teachers that students can say, I can look at that person and say, that person understands me sometimes. It doesn't mean all teachers have to look like me, but when you have a diverse population, you get a much bigger connection for students of all different diverse cultures. Expanding digital and community outreach is thinking about putting together a very specific and dynamic plan with our communications department and our digital media department with regards to how do we not just post a job position out on social media, but really think about how do we target this from not only the frequency of how we do it, but who we're after. So for example, when you think back to that previous slide, we talked about those psychologists and social workers and speech paths. They have very specific organizations that they are connected to. We are not connected there, or at least we in HR are not. Our psychs and social workers are connected to those. How do we work with them to help maintain a healthy and consistent communications and digital strategy with all of those types of organizations? So that's an example of what we might do there. Promoting staff referral programs. If you apply on Red Rover and you name so-and-so, that's a real obvious and quick one that we can refer. I learned about this from so-and-so in this department. If that person comes on and is here for a year, there might be a bonus potential there. Whether we do that or not is still under consideration, but that's an example. And then finally, really showcasing our employees' experiences. I was on, Ms. Bennett had given me a video of some research from Hanover, and it's nice to pick those nuggets that come out of those types of experiences. And one of the things I really thought about is they do a Teacher of the Year program in this other district. We do it here in the county. But one of the things I thought about is that video experience where you get to understand why that teacher was nominated. Doing those kind of real life videos and putting them out as part of our digital strategy really helps to showcase this is more than just a school district. This is personal, this is connected, this is authentic. So those are some examples of what we might do there. For specifically special education, bilingual ESL strategies that we're considering partnering with credentialing universities. We've already talked about that here. As a matter of fact, we have the plans for doing a strategic partnership with Illinois State University coming up. We'll be working through that and I'll be able to give you some more information there. Create Grow Your Own Pathways. We've already started with AUSL, but there's a Grow Your Own initiative going on in the state of Illinois that Dr. Mendoza has just given me information on that finally came.
I just want to share this, and I'm not going to lose you actually were signaling me for a break, right? Sure. Yeah. So I attended a meeting last week. So if you look, we're trying to turn over every stone for pathways and recruiting. Kind of last week though, it kind of hit me in this meeting, the amount of work it takes to fully manage a Grow Your Own in-house. If you think of communication that you have to facilitate, organizing, monitoring the attendees. So if you have a TA that wants to get another degree or a teacher, the finances, this Grow Your Own Illinois we're exploring, that's another way to do it. They have forgivable loans, the credit audits and comparing that to the state university requirements, licensure. It's a lot. It is a lot. And I think the Grow Your Own thing in Lake County, I think there's maybe 5 of us that might consider it. And they have like 4 full-time staff members working on that. So I think we're going to get to where we need to be. Unless we add a ton of staff, it's going to be a combination of working with these agencies to help with the management piece while also bolstering our recruiting efforts. So it was pretty eye-opening for me. I was sitting there with mostly human resource people, and it was good for me to learn. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mendoza. The other 2 pieces here are really exploring some, sometimes it's about exploring financial means like signing bonuses, stipends, and smaller caseloads, things like that, which impacts finances as well. And then targeting onboarding and mentorship in a very deliberate way. So some things might have a financial impact, but we're really trying to look beyond those initial kinds of feel good type of things that would be the financial signing bonuses, because there is a shelf life to that and there is a limit to that. So we're really looking at how do we get people who are already invested in Round Lake to help invest in sort of selling Round Lake, if you will, without the sales pitch of it all. That really an authentic way of communicating to the outside world what a great place it is to be in Round Lake and why you need to be here. Okay. Our guest teacher, I did change it on this slide. I was very excited about that. Recruitment strategies include, again, there's local colleges and universities that I've already made some contacts with. I've already told them I want their December grads for coming in the middle of the year. I want their student teachers. I want their related services to come here and do some of the work here. Sometimes, and more, I'm hearing that student teachers or at least related service members who are doing their work in their student teaching of sorts are now more and more getting paid, or at least getting a stipend of some kind or something. So we're going to have to really look at the competitiveness of how we're bringing in some of those related services and getting them to want to come here and then stay here, so that we're really targeting when you come here and you're doing your good work, we're going to hire you on, very similar to our AUSL grads that are going to be special ed teachers. Explore guest teacher pools with tiered incentives. So our retirees might have a different incentive than, just somebody off the street, because they've given their time and talent to the district for so many years. We might do a different tier. That's an example of how we might attract people in different spheres. We're going to explore flexible schedules. An example of that might be, I can't start until 8:30, but school starts at 7:30. Can the school schedule an hour's worth of substitution so that I can come in at 8:30 and do the rest of the day? It would have to be worked out on a case-by-case basis, but that's an example of how we might be a little bit more flexible with our guest teachers in order to maybe highlight or attract why it's good to be here, because we're not just doing the same old thing that everybody else does, but we're really thinking about you as an individual, as a guest teacher. And then, of course, getting our guest teachers who are certified into our pipeline. Like, it's great to have them as certified teachers, as guest teachers, but if they can do the job of a regular teacher, why wouldn't we focus on them as potential full-time staff members for us? So again, a couple of examples, and I'm sending 2 of my team members to a substitute day with the Illinois Association of School Personnel Administrators. On May 29th, they're going to get a whole day's worth of great opportunities and ideas for our guest teachers. So looking forward to them bringing that back and adding to our pool of resources here. Our key focus area number 2, again, is rooted in the strategic goals and this time in the social emotional development. This is really where the retention comes in. Most specifically, grounding ourselves in those 8 dimensions of wellness: the financial, the physical, the mental, all of those dimensions that I've spoken to you about when we engaged you about getting the wellness captain and about getting the wellness coaches. We're really focusing on all of those dimensions and building out a full plan for next year, which includes themes around those 8 dimensions, quarterly trainings on different elements of things that staff really want to hear about and really want to know about. We had 2, if you remember, we had 2 pilots this year. One was on breathing techniques, and the second was on mental health resources. And we've heard good feedback on both of those as being very helpful. I specifically went to one of the breathing techniques, and just being in there and everybody just calmly, I mean, it changes the whole atmosphere when everybody kind of thinks that way. So I think what will also go along with this is some of the work that I think Dr. Mendoza is thinking about taking our journey on with regards to our wellness and our happiness and our love for the work too. So I think that there will be a nice tie in there. We're going to utilize climate survey data that we get from Hanover. But then also, what we'd like to consider is taking it a step further and doing things like stay interviews. We know about exit interviews. When people leave, they give us their feedback on what they didn't like about things or what they might have liked about things. Well, stay interviews are what makes you want to stay here? What makes you want to be in the place that you're in? Those are more and more, but I'm sorry. Well, hopefully a little bit different of a question, but you're here and there's a reason why you're here, right? So what makes you stay? What are the elements that really speak to you as an employee in order to really kind of use that information to build out the practices we do in our wellness committee, that we do as a leadership team, all of those things. Very exciting work ahead on that front. Finally, our EAP, looking at the Employee Assistance Program and really figuring out ways to not only just have it advertised, but really figure out different ways to connect with the staff, maybe in staff meetings, different examples like if we do our quarterly events, we would always have the EAP as part of our slide presentations so that it's always up there. That we're always putting it in their mindset so that they know it's more than just getting counseling. Maybe that's what most people think about when they think about an employee assistance program, but there's so many other avenues that an EAP gives to its employees. So we need to do more to put that in front of their face and give them opportunities to connect with that. Finally, the recognition and employee feedback initiatives, really targeting those, continue to work with our communications department on how we can keep refreshing it and making it something exciting and worth the work that we're putting in. And of course, I already talked about the stay interviews here. Our key focus area 3 is on our internal pipelines and our talent development. Some other things to consider would be like career ladders for non-certified staff. An example of that really also fits into bullet number 2, which is residency and apprenticeship, is we had 2 staff members in Dr. Lamping's department who worked full-time but also apprenticed in terms of getting their licensure to be a mechanic. So that we're fostering those types of apprenticeships while they're working so they don't have to stop and have to pay at the same time, where we can make those connections for apprenticeships, I think is a valuable tool. So that's one example that's on the non-certified side, but there's different career ladders for various people. There's career ladders in certified staff when you're a classroom teacher and you really want to take that work that you do in one classroom with a set of students and branch it out to a whole building. That's an instructional coach. So that's another advancement opportunity for a certified staff member. Our key focus area 4 is about equity-driven practices, making sure in equity that we're always looking at our salary in comparison to the market, to the region, to the educational landscape, and we do that periodically, but we're going to make sure that we're on a cycle of doing that consistently. Signing and retention bonuses, we talked about that a little bit. That's something we'll explore with with our union and through the collective bargaining agreement and with you. Tuition assistance and loan forgiveness. Loan forgiveness is its own separate thing in that's run by the federal government. That's not something we can control. However, we can start to monitor how many times we get requests for loan forgiveness, because in order to do that with the federal government, they have to go through me to get it signed off on. So all we do is verify their employment and then I sign off on it, but we can start keeping track of how many people are utilizing that. And there's already been quite a few in my tenure. I don't have the number at this point, but we could certainly backtrack. Where it gets more directed to what we can do is tuition assistance, which we're doing that currently right now with Bloomboard. We're paying up front. That's that tuition assistance. Instead of them having to pay and making sure that they can get X amount of dollars back, depending on the rate at NIU versus where I am attending, by putting some of these things in place, we're taking that burden off and providing those opportunities for our staff members to feel like they're being supported in ways that 10 years ago we would never have seen. So these are exciting opportunities for just taking a little edge off of every corner that we can for teachers to really focus on the work that they're supposed to be doing. Finally, family care and wellness program enhancements is in part out of the EAP, and it's certainly grounded in the EAP, but really getting them to understand the referral process that goes into family care, like elder care, child care, and then wellness program enhancements that they have a variety of in the EAP. Okay. I'm going to move forward into a slide, data-driven decision making. These are a couple of the options of things that we can start reporting on to you on an annual basis. These were things that we initially thought about in terms of we definitely want these things to be a part of what we're reporting. But there's so many other things. What we're waiting on, why this list isn't even more robust, is we're waiting on understanding what Skyward and what Red Rover are really going to provide for us. We believe we know, but until we see it in action, we see what comes out of it, it's a different story. So we wanted to be prudent about our list at this point to know what we think we can accomplish at this point, but I think that list is going to grow significantly to provide us a more robust picture of what our retention and our recruitment looks like on a yearly basis for you. So, okay. And then my final slide is really about a call to action. This all sounds like the HR department is going to take care of all this stuff, but the reality is, as Dr. Mendoza kind of alluded to, there's only so many things we can do in a given day and week and month and year. We're certainly going to lead the charge, but we're going to work with each cabinet member to determine what we can accomplish all together. Specifically, I want to make sure that our psychs and social workers are reaching out to their alumni or their organizational approaches. I want all staff members to have a connection to somebody to show what Round Lake is really all about. But there's many other opportunities that various people can have. Cabinet members can have a role, board members can have a role. All of us have unique opportunities to bring to the table, and we can define those. I actually have many of those defined. So we can build a process by which everybody is responsible for recruitment, not just HR. And some are very involved, like our multilingual department is very involved in that process, but not everybody is. And I think we can all, if we all did a little, it would amount to a lot. So we want to work on that. Intentionality in our collaboration across departments. I think from all accounts, from what I can see, we do a good job of collaborating between departments, but we do a lot of T&L collaboration and maybe not a lot of T&L and operation. I don't know. We have to look at the intentionality of what we're doing. I'm not saying we don't do it or don't do it, but really thinking about how intentionally we collaborate to help each other even further what we do for students. And then finally, opening those channels for staff input and innovation. That one example that I've already talked about is those stay interviews can really help us understand where their voice is, what they want to be a part of, and what they feel they can contribute, and really channeling and harnessing that so that we can get better results from our staff, particularly on our surveys. And that's my presentation.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, so I've got a question. So I wonder, I was just thinking about how sometimes nowadays people are gathering information in a different way, right? So where before we used to do Google searches, and then now a lot of times people use different forms of media to gather information. So I'm wondering if there's any data or anything that we know, like let's say from Hanover, about how graduates are gathering information on the districts that they may be interested in, or how they could be in terms of how they're making decisions.
That's a great point, and I would even add into our partnerships with the schools will help us understand how current graduates are looking at information, how they're actually approaching it from the institutional lens. Universities, how are they encouraging that level that might be different than what maybe we're seeing out in the field. So to your point, what kind of data can we find from that? Where are they seeking their information? Which we know a lot of our current generation is looking at things like TikTok and Instagram, but we would have to really target that and be very intentional about how we would do that. But there's many other ways, to your point. I think we can certainly look into that.
And thank you. This is very comprehensive. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was just very helpful to pull it all together.
Are you done?
And then there's another piece in terms of gathering information from our newest teachers to find out what they're finding as the strengths and weaknesses in terms of their first 30, 60, 90 days, or their kind of like the stay interview. But I would think a stay interview of a new teacher or somebody that would be a really almost like gold in terms of highly leveraged information.
And Mr. Jewett, we could ask the new teachers, why did you pick Round Lake? I mean, it's simple. As part of the onboarding process. I think some of the...
What did you pick? What was the same?
Correct.
Different? What
Yep.
was frustrating in it? The next. Yeah, like what I said.
I caught it. Thank you. And thank you for that. I didn't detail out the onboarding piece as part of the equity-driven focus is really thinking about our onboarding and how we differentiate that for various people depending on what their needs are. And so really focusing on that. But to that point, that was one of those points that I had researched about onboarding was really getting to them within that first year. And we can partner with Liz Damp as part of the professional learning process and the new mentor program that we can harness and gather that information from them through like a 30, 60, 90 or some kind of cadence on that so that we're not overwhelming them, but we're also making sure that we're getting a sense of who they are and what they can bring, what they're bringing to the table. So.
Good. Okay, I have a few questions. I'm going to start with your KFA 5, the data-driven decision-making. So you mentioned metrics, progress, tracking, strategies. So I know the board has seen the engagement and climate survey results. What can you present to the board regarding the fill rate, retention, and internal advancement tracking data? What could be put together to present to the board so we could see that?
That is what we are looking at right now is what can we get out of the system that's going to be helpful information and that we can track consistently. So we don't have the answer to that yet, but it's something that when I worked over this with my new HRIS staff member, when we're pulling in stuff from Skyward and from Red Rover, how can we access this on a consistent basis so that we can quickly pull those kinds of reports and have that at our fingertips so we don't have that fully understood yet?
Is it something that could be some kind of answer come back to the board by fall?
That is definitely my hope to be able to bring that back to you and really show you some of those things that are coming out there. So not just an answer, but kind of explore some of those different opportunities that we're finding in those systems.
Dan, you could, so I'm hearing two different things, not different, but one is what can you do? And the second one is when would you bring it? I think when you find out what you're able to pull, we can get that to the board. That shouldn't be the fall, right?
That is correct. We would not. Yes, we can do that. We can certainly answer that as soon as possible, but I'd love to explore what that looks like and get some feedback on what we might be looking at getting changing or making difference. So yes, we can provide that as soon as possible, as soon as we get those types of pieces of information. But I'd also love to explore it in the fall as well.
But I think we're saying the same thing. The board wants both, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be a timeline, because otherwise you're gonna be exploring forever.
Correct. I just don't know what we don't know yet, but I
Right, but
believe.
if we put a timeline when you gotta come report back, that lets us know.
So I'm going to give you this fall. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, next question on KFA 4, the tuition assistance and loan forgiveness. My question is around the loan forgiveness. So obviously certain districts, low income such as Round Lake is part of that loan forgiveness through the federal government. So I would love to see how many students, or not students anymore, but teachers have applied for that. So that would be data to come back to the board, but also how are we advertising that Round Lake is a district that is listed on that site? Because I know there's a site that, and some people do pick the schools they apply for jobs based on knowing, hey, I can get teacher loan forgiveness. So that could be a great hiring point, and I don't see it advertised on our website or with jobs as a benefit, and I have seen it with other districts. But that is a great tool to advertise.
I would agree, and we want to monitor that closely because we're hearing a lot of changes coming down about loan forgiveness and all of that. So to your point, put it out there, but also monitor when those things change, that we're keeping up with that. Yes.
Well, and it goes to, I know, and I'm happy to hear we're going back to guest teacher. I think that's nice. I kind of got used to it because I was saying substitute for a long time and they kept correcting me. It's guest teacher. So it's guest teacher. But same thing with guest teacher, and I don't know how many know this. If we're looking for more guest teachers to fill the positions we have, I think a way to encourage people, when somebody apply, you have to have your bachelor's and you apply for your substitute teaching license, that fee is reimbursable through ISB. So again, that is a great thing to put out there. There's plenty of community members, plenty of people in our community that maybe are in between or whatever. If they know they can apply for that substitute license, and I think it's $50 or whatever the fee is, and it's also reimbursable, that might get us some more guest teachers. Am I the only one that knows that, or? Yeah, okay. So again, that's, something to put out there to bring those guest teachers in.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. The EPA, EAP, sorry, wrong organization. Yeah, wrong organization, sorry. Do we have it listed on our website under like staff resources? We do?
Yes, we do.
Okay, because I looked, I didn't see it, but maybe I looked in the wrong spot.
I think there's two different staff resources, the one that's public facing and the one that's in the portal.
Okay.
I'm referring to the one in the portal. I'm just getting used to both of those and realizing what potential there is for both.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it's out there for trying to make it more accessible and let them be aware. Where is it listed for them?
Yeah, we can certainly post it on the public facing one as well, but it is there. I worked with communications earlier or mid to late fall on getting our portal reset to be a little bit more user friendly.
Okay, and then you mentioned, let me go, where is it? Develop partnerships with more diverse organizations. Can you give me an example of a more diverse organization? Maybe my line of thinking isn't in line with what this might be.
I think in terms of looking at the concentric circles that I talked about locally, looking at the types of organizations that we have locally and what that can provide in terms of encouraging potential connections with each school, being partner schools, finding out how that's already happening and what other potentials there are for recruitment and retention purposes. Then looking at the second circle much more in the Midwest with respect to what are organizations that are more regionally located and available to support us. Specifically, student organizations on campuses are a good starting point and a reference point for that, but they're not the only ones that can help us with that. There are much more regional programs that we can start to look into and focus on at some point. And then, of course, the wider angle lens of just within the United States, those different kinds of organizations like HBCUs, but also various organizations, not just Hispanic, not just Black, but all of the different organizations, and letting those local breed into those wide angle lens organizations.
Okay, thank you. And then last question, you mentioned Bloomberg would be coming back. You didn't give a date, though. Did I understand that right?
Bloomboard? We're starting a new cohort this fall. We did an information session last week, and so we're going to kick off another cohort this fall while the other one is finishing up.
Okay. All right, I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, thank you very much.
I'd like to leave, but I am the next one as well.
All right, then lead us on medical and dental insurance rates.
I just wanted to inform you that we had a fantastic year as a co-op, not a cohort, a co-op. Now I'm on a different track. As a co-op, we have great numbers from all of the different districts. Ours particularly looks good and has been looking good for a number of years. It has brought us down even further in our percentages, as you note in board docs in terms of our percentage for both our HMO and our PPO. We're really excited about what that's offering in terms of relief to our budget, but also it says a lot about how our staff are utilizing the health insurance that we have, and that we don't have major claims in this district. So that's something to be proud of as a district, not because we don't want to help those who are in need. Of course, when somebody is, of course, we're there. But we want to make sure that we have a healthy organization, and that says something about the health of our organization. And I don't know, T, if you have anything to add to that, but we we were just very excited about the numbers that came from NIHIP, and we only found out about it a couple of weeks ago. So it's also important to note that our dental is up next year. So that was not reissued, and also our life insurance as well. So those rates just maintain, but it's the HMO and the PPO for the medical portion that changed this year.
And just for your information, the rates were reflected in the last budget assumptions.
Questions from the board? Hearing none, thank you very much. All right, next up is the 2025 Joint Annual Conference. Amazingly, it's that time of the year to start thinking about that again. One other thing, Dr. Mendez and I are working on it, and the board got some information via email. We're going to be looking at trying to have a good conversation, and it was rightfully brought up through finance that we need to set guidelines and put in place some good structure as to what our continuing educations are, how to go about it, and just looking at that so that we are proper stewards of the finances, and also that we're getting proper use and growth out of those education materials as well. So that's coming up in our next meeting. We'll dive more into that. But for the 2025 Joint Annual Conference, the assumption would be, does anybody see a conflict at this point? or are we looking at all 7 as usual? Hearing none, we will assume all 7 and we will go forward with that. All right, next up was review contracts less than 1,000, which it looks like we had none. So we will move directly to public comment. As always, members of the public will participate in public comment during regular board meetings by attending in person and staying, or submitting an electronic public comment form. Please note the speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Electronic public comments are accepted up until noon on the day of the regularly scheduled meeting. At this time, we did not have any electronic public comment for this meeting. In addition, looks like we do not have any public. So we will now move directly to the superintendent's report and Dr. Mendoza.
Thank you, Board President Francisco and Board of Education. Manufacturing, engineering, technology, and trades pathway students in our Project Lead the Way program at Round Lake High School participated in mock interviews with industry professionals the week of April 21st. Students prepared questions for each professional seeking to learn about potential career paths in manufacturing, engineering, technology, and trades. Industry professionals also interviewed students to provide opportunities for students to communicate their strengths, experiences, interests, and career goals. Our industry professionals then provided feedback to the students on their professional communication style and opportunities for growth. We are thankful for our participants for sharing their time and professional expertise. Participants included our very own Brianna Negretti McGinley from AbbVie and graduate student, Jerry Donahue, College of Lake County Apprenticeships, Yannick Alcala from Baxter, Jill Adkins from MedPace, Chris Clausen and Tyler Bills at Takeda, Michael Lannon, CEO at Alden Company, and Jacob Borland and Nick Gagnon at Scott Forge. Last week, we brought together K-12 teachers from special education intervention and the high school math department for a learning session delivered by iReady. The session centered on connecting research-based strategies and instructional models that support conceptual learning in math. This collaborative session marked a valuable opportunity for educators across grade levels to align on best practices and deepen their understanding on how to scaffold instruction to meet diverse learning needs. Staff feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Many appreciated the change to collaborate across grade bands and expressed enthusiasm about implementing the shared practices in their classrooms. The session laid on a strong foundation for the remainder of the series, which will continue next year to focus on vertical alignment and practical application. I'd also like to share a special note that Mr. Peterson received from, I don't know how to say this. Does anyone know how to say this? Vitalant, who hosted a blood drive at Round Lake High School last week. The blood drive was the second most successful blood drive in over 5 years from Vitalant, collected 99 blood donation units. These units could help as many as almost 300 Chicagoland hospital patients. There were 155 Round Lake High School students that checked in, which is more than 14 of the other high schools our representative works with. There were 136 registered donors, including 47 first-timers. Congratulations to Vitalant and all Round Lake High School staff and students who are responsible for coordinating these important events. And last but certainly not least, you have some light reading we've given you. You can, obviously there's not going to be a book study or anything, but just really, I personally think it's important for the board to maybe have some background knowledge on some of the things that we're going to be working on related to climate, culture, staff wellness, ultimately leading to improved student outcomes. We're very, very, very excited about it. So that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Mendoza. Any questions for Dr. Mendoza? Hearing none, we will go to committee reports, and we had this evening the Community Engagement Committee. Take it away.
Okay, so tonight we had two kind of main things on the agenda. The first one was the test parents meeting application that they are interested in doing. It's a scheduling app. There's been a lot of difficulties due to the lack of standardization regarding kind of inconsistent practices for scheduling the parent-teacher conferences. So they did some kind of due diligence on this. found this program. It's going to save time and money. It's going to be a lot more efficient for parents, students, and teachers. It's fully pre-K through 12, so it'll have consistency. Some of the high-level perks that parents can pick, both in-person or virtual appointments. We do have a need for this for parent-teacher conference. The process that they currently have is just it's extremely laborious. So they definitely have a need. Heather actually vetted it. There was another school district that uses this and got some very good feedback and also some communication sent over for ways to communicate it. We talked a little bit about setting up SOPs for it sometime probably in August. We had a couple questions about, because the company is located in the UK, about how the tariffs would potentially affect us. They've done their due diligence on that. There will not be any price raising for that. They've already quoted the price. They will actually have the ability to, the families will actually have the ability to call the building if they don't like to do things online, and they'll have a person designated to schedule the conferences for them. So it's going to be kind of checking those boxes for people that maybe aren't as tech savvy. So community engagement was excited about it. It's got to go through finance still, but we definitely are supporting it, and definitely see a need. Anything you guys want to add to that? The other thing that was on the agenda was the 2025 RLHS homecoming, and kind of a shift in sort of the way we want to schedule that. There was some suggestion that we would just have kind of all of the activities on the one day. The Community Engagement Committee was not fully supportive of that. We asked for some more information on that. So we wanted to maybe do like a small straw poll or see what our kind of families, their thoughts on it are. The Community Engagement Committee felt that it would be too long of a day for the students, just given that there would be the parade and then they would be going back to activities. It would just be a very long day. So there were some concerns expressed for that. We asked, again, like I said, for just some more information for that, and then they're going to bring kind of the results back, let us know. So there'll be more updates on that in the future. But right now, we're leaning towards not supporting it just because it's such a kind of brutal day for the children involved. And then the last thing was the snapshot, the monthly informational snapshot. If you guys got a chance to look at that, there are quite a bit of activities coming up. We have something almost every night, so make sure you take a peek at that. And that was essentially the meeting. Anything anybody want to add? Any questions? Okay.
Hearing none, thank you so very much. That'll take us to approval of minutes.
I need a motion to approve the April 21st, 2025 regular board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee? Yes. Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the April 28th, 2025 special board meeting superintendent evaluation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the April 29th, 2025 special board meeting stakeholders advisory group.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Larson, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Need an approval for the consent agenda for the following items. The accounts payable report for $1,326,655.25 and the May 5th, 2025 employment report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Motion carries. That'll take us to new business, and first up on that are committee assignments, liaison assignments, and proposed committee meeting schedules. I don't see any reason at this point to make any changes, so my recommendation is that everyone will hold in their current positions, which would be the Finance Committee being Mrs. Negretti McGinley and Mr. Tavera, Community Engagement being Mrs. Klingler and Ms. Lee, CEDAW holding well with Mr. Jewett and then Ms. Larson as the alternate there. And then in addition, insurance, I can just continue holding on to that as well. So hearing nothing on that, the question I would make sure to ask is for community engagement as well as finance to confirm the dates on that and that we've got posted here, and make sure that that is in alignment with what we have talked about, especially when it comes to the year-round component of that as well. Do we have do we need to do an official approval for those dates, or? Yes. Okay. So any questions at that, any comments? Everyone feeling comfortable with being forced back into the same rules they were? Pushy. All right, hearing none.
I need a motion to approve board committee appointments, liaison assignments, and the 2025-2026 proposed committee meeting schedule as proposed.
So second.
Motion by Mrs. Klingler, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yeah.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will bring us to new business addition reduction, coaching stipends. Mr. Karolzak.
Good evening, everybody. The administration is requesting that the Board of Education review and approve the addition of 4 additional, that's kind of redundant, coaching stipends beginning with the 25-26 school year. Those stipends would create another varsity sport at Round Lake High School. So head competitive dance, JV competitive dance. They would also add third level coach to girls flag football, JV girls flag football. And I'm sorry, second level for JV girls flag football and JV2 cheerleading in the winter only, in the competitive season only. So this recommendation aligns with our MVP process for Round Lake Athletics, our mission, vision, and core principles, and we believe is necessary in order to continue the upward trajectory that we've seen with the athletic department the last several years. I will be happy and honored to take any questions that you have for me.
Well, I'll speak to, this was brought to finance last month, and I know finance reported out regarding the request that is brought forward by Mr. Karolzak regarding flag football, cheerleading, the head dance coach stipend. This would be a new program added. They kind of do it as a class. It's a class, not a club, right? The dance
That's correct. We offer 2 classes of dance fitness right now. There's demand for more. It's very popular with our students. We don't currently have a dance club.
Right. So this would move it to that next level. And then also noted in the memo, we are removing the 4th assistant softball coach stipend. So it definitely, they've put some thought and care into this request. We did, the questions that came out of finance was the proposal in here talks about the ratio for students. In the memo that was with finance, we had questioned Chair because if they want to keep it that fidelity, what they requested was the number that wouldn't keep with it, but you address that with Chair because there's like 77 girls.
Well, that was the initial number interested. The roster for sideline is set. 48 kids made the cut. 7 who tried out did not, either for objective skill reasons or in some instances there were question marks in terms of behavior, attendance, or grades, which was part of the trial process that was shared out in advance with the students and their families.
Right, this is in the finance memo that was prior to the trials.
That is correct, yeah. It's
Prior to the trials.
new piece of information there. So I know you were concerned about those numbers and they aligned with what we anticipated.
Great. So with all that, finance is in support of this recommendation.
Any additional questions for Mr. Karasek?
All right, with that, I need a motion to approve the addition of 4 additional coaching stipends, beginning with the 2025-2026 school year. Those stipends are head coach, head competitive dance, JV competitive dance, JV flag football, and JV2 cheerleading winter only.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mrs. Klingler, seconded by Mr. Francisco. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call please.
Mr. DeVere?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And that will bring us, Ms. Danf with the instructional coaching group.
Good evening. Well, as you know, we are beginning an instructional coaching program, and we've hired 6 instructional coaches, and they will be using what we call the impact cycle, which is produced by the instructional coaching group. So basically, it's a format for coaching. So it's a cycle of identify, learn, improve, and all of our coaches are going to be enacting it. And we'd like to bring the instructional coaching group in to train the coaches on their own product. So this is something that is very aligned with our coaching philosophy. All of our coaches, plus our Department of Professional Learning specialists and myself, will be in attendance.
So as clarification, this is basically a train-the-trainer.
It's not really train the trainer because the coaches aren't going to be taking this training off to go train other people. They're the end users. So as coaches, they're enacting this cycle. They will be coaching teachers, but they're translating what they learn into a cycle of individualized learning for teachers.
Thank you. Very good clarification. Thank you.
If I could just add, this was brought to finance as well. The question out of finance is this is over the summer, and it's just making sure that commitment from those individuals is clear, the dates and communication.
Yes, absolutely. So we talked about dates in our meeting and over email, and they signed up on a spreadsheet. So yes, they have committed to coming in over the summer.
I need a motion to approve the contract with Instructional Coaching Group in the amount of $6,500.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call please.
Mr. DeVere?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will bring us back to Dr. Shute.
Did you miss us?
Say that again, please.
Did you miss us?
I have, and as a matter of fact, I'm hoping to do 3 or 4 things every time from now on because it's been very exciting. First, I want to start out with the approval for administrator and confidential staff contracts. You have a stack of them with Ms. Garcia tonight. Thank you. For those who are going on their new cycle for next year. That includes all of our confidential staff as well. And in the board packet, you'll see the breakdown of each individual staff member, as well as any new titles or anything that are there as well.
All right, so this was all reviewed as well, and I know the board has seen this in great detail as well, so we are good. And with that, I need a motion to approve the administrator and confidential employee contracts for the 2025-2026 year
So,
as listed.
so moved again.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Hearing no additional conversation, roll call please.
Mr. De Vera,
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next item, we brought this to finance in the last session with regards to new positions that were needed, including an educational life skills at McGee, a French position at Round Lake Middle School, and a special ed resource at Village, as well as a variety of teaching assistants, which totaled negative $214,000 when you factor in teachers that had been released and or had resigned or positions that were no longer needed at that time. Noting, of course, that no programs have been impacted by those positions. From there, we had also requested a few specific stipends for the high school. And then what we neglected to put in the last time, which we wanted to highlight this time in this particular board memo, is that there was an offset for district funds for the activity and club coordinator. So that was not a part of the overall last time. So we did find an additional savings that amounts to a total of $192,000, or a negative amount of $192,000 when you add the positions above and you add the stipends here. So we have a total savings in that category of a negative $192,284. And then from there, we also detailed out the new stipends that will be coming out of title funds and where our cost savings were there as well, which totals up a positive amount of $1,472.
Just to clarify, this reminds me of the resolution thing.
Thank you. I know where you're going.
It's negative savings is like a double negative.
Yes, I know.
So it's either savings of or we're spending less, right, Dan? So when we say negative savings,
Yeah.
we're actually saving money because
Thank you, because I was
I'm
like,
punchy,
no,
sorry.
it's not negative. It's not negative.
it's savings of 192,000, correct?
That's a negative. Yeah.
All right, everybody's tracking. I know we're all laughing about it. So yes, savings 192. So I wasn't the only one thinking that though, right?
Yes, you are correct.
Green is usually good, red is usually bad.
Resolutions, right? So if we vote
want
yes,
yes,
are we
what
voting
no?
it down?
Thank you for that clarification.
Great job putting this together, by the way.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
just
it.
wanted to add, this came to finance as well, and I know Dr. Schuth mentioned it. Just want to again reiterate, there are no cuts to programs. I know there, you see like music teacher and some of those things on here as being eliminated, but there's no effect or cuts to the program itself. We just really want to make sure the community knows that. All right, so with that, I need a motion to approve the personal inventory and staffing as listed for the 2025-2026 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mr. Tavera. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. Stop it. Just stop it. All right, next up, please save us, Dr. Stefan. Let's go.
I'll do my best. I'm here to make a request for the board to support. This is particularly out of our math department with Katie Wishaw and our math and MTSS coordinator. We're looking to bring in the ALEX Placement Preparation and Learning Program, specifically for our high school applied math course. This is a course that is designed to support students that may have been struggling in math, but that would like to be able to enter college with a college credit bearing course. So we really want to align. The ALEX test is what is used at CLC to determine if a student is college ready or not. So by bringing the test into our resources, we'll be able to monitor where kids are at. We'll be able to see it. And the nice part is ALEX does also provide a individualized learning pathway very similar to what iReady does. So when the student's taken in the beginning of the year, it will kind of set course of where there's some gaps to fill in. So it'll just be a really nice ad, and we'll be able to see where our kids are at before we send them off to take a placement test, hoping that they're prepared. So I know that one of the requests that came out of finance was that we would bring back some data to kind of show where our kids are at and what the growth looks like. I believe was my understanding, and we absolutely can do that.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Stefan. That was one of the requests. And again, I think this is great. I know all of us have encountered families within our community who kids go off to CLC and they take that placement test. And it's heartbreaking, and it costs them extra money because they have to take a class to get into an actual college level course. So I really, look forward to this coming to the high school, and as you mentioned, to bring back that data to the board. All right, I need a motion to approve entering into the partnership with McGraw-Hill for the ALEX Placement Preparation and Learning Program as a supplemental curricular resource for the high school applied mathematics course in the amount of $3,750.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Larson, seconded by Ms. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will take us to E-rate and
So on behalf of Mr. Kozak, we are respectfully requesting the board to approve an AT&T mobility hotspot device and service agreement. We currently have 70 hotspots assigned to students and 80 to staff. We have used Verizon and T-Mobile in the past, but when we put this out, AT&T came in with the best price. So we utilize these devices. If power goes out, staff bring them in so that we can function. Students who do not have access to the internet are using those hotspots in order to do their homework, etc. This is going through E-rate at a 90% reimbursement.
And this has been reviewed by finance, and thank you for hitting all those spots, Dr. Lambine.
any additional questions?
Right, I need a motion to approve the AT&T Mobility Hotspots devices and service agreement for 2025 through the E-rate program in the amount of $2,655.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Ms. Lee. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yeah.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Motion carries. And I think the next one up is the 22 vets.
So this is a agreement that's going through E-rate with 22 Vets Network Equipment. And this is for future proofing in order to handle additional cameras, additional growth in equipment. So we are looking to purchase switches that work on our network. We did this last in the 22, 23, and 23, 24 school year. It's time to add the additional switches. This would go through E-rate at an 85% reimbursement, but we are looking to future-proof and be ready for additional growth.
And again, this was all reviewed through finance, and as Dr. Lamping mentioned, this is, for that future growth that we need in the district here. And with no other questions, I need a motion to approve the 22 Vets Network Equipment Agreement for the 2025 year through the E-rate program in the amount of $11,495.97.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, second by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yeah.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. And that will bring us to Dr. Apgar, I believe.
Good evening. I am respectfully requesting the board to approve a service contract with Life Productions for the purchase of the Practical Assessment Exploration System. This request will result in expenditures in the amount of $44,875 and will be budgeted to the STEP contract. This system allows students to engage in sorting, counting, and building activities as a employment potential. So this system also provides reporting on work completion, work rate, and then how these students compare to individuals who are actually in the world of work. So again, these expenditures will be budgeted to the STEP contract.
And this was at finance last meeting as well. And some of the questions that came out of this, how it ties to the student's IEP, or does it tie to the IEP? And I know Dr. Apgar did address those questions, and it does, and it is shared, with those families. One of the other questions is what kind of data can be derived from it to share with the board, and what could come with that. And I guess those assessments can also be shared. That can be part of the report out to the board.
Absolutely, we can share that information with the board.
Great, thank you. So with that, I need a motion to approve entering into a service agreement with Life Productions for the purchase of PAES system in the amount of $44,875.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Miss Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
That will bring us to Ms. Knapp.
Good evening. Tonight, administration respectfully requests the Board of Education support the expanded contract with Elevation for the Strategies and Family Communication modules for school year 25-26. These additions will strengthen instructional support for multilingual learners because teachers will have access to professional development and activities they can implement in the classroom that support differentiated strategies aligned to the English language proficiencies from the WIDA screener and access test scores. These professional development modules will be monitored by the multilingual department. We can award continuing professional development hours for teachers to use towards their license renewal, which is very important because you have to complete 120 hours when you renew your license. The family communication module will help facilitate digital tracking and formats for families on their parent notification letters. That is a requirement that we send at the beginning of each school year for English learners. And the cost for the elevation strategies will be $56,837.50, funded through the school improvement grant, and $9,000 for the family communication module funded through teaching and learning funds. This is a slight change from when we brought it to finance because as information goes through the grant reports, there are different levels of approvers. So when the principal consultants are determining what's allowable as an expense, the family communication portion is not allowable through Title III because we are required as a district to provide communication in home languages for parents. So that would be considered supplanting and not supplementing. So that expenditure will be covered through teaching and learning for the $9,000 portion.
And this was at finance, and that was actually one of our big questions is how does that communication, how is that being brought forward to the parents? And I know it's part of that platform, but again, the oversight of it and making sure that it is clear for the families and they're able to access it. And then also is how does it integrate or tie with the PLCs? Because you mentioned they get that 120 hours as they need, teachers need to renew their license. And there's that integration there as well.
Yes, and since it's focusing on English language proficiency data, the PLC team can see where they want to focus their attention with specific groups of students and then collaborate as a team to decide what strategy they want to implement. And then after implementation, they would come back as a team to talk about how that worked in the classroom for a particular activity they're trying to teach through the content.
Thank you. All right, with that, I need a motion to approve the expanded contract with Elevation to include the strategies and families communication modules for the school year of 2025-2026 with $56,837.50 funded through the Illinois Empower Grant and then $9,000 at the teaching and learning budget.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, second by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yep.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yeah.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next item on our agenda is the approval of the FY26 serious safety hazardous busing conditions. In accordance with school code, the district must annually review and approve its serious safety hazardous busing conditions. The recommendation that's coming before you is to continue with the previous approved serious safety hazardous busing conditions for the coming year.
And this was at the last finance meeting, and this is really more procedural in nature for us to do, for the board to complete. And with that, I need a motion to adopt the fiscal year 26 serious safety hazardous busing conditions resolution as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, second by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next resolution is for our FY25 resolution to designate interest earnings. Unless otherwise provided by state statute, the board must adopt a resolution every year in order to prevent our interest earnings from becoming what is permanently part of each fund. This will allow us at a later date, should we so choose, to designate those interest earnings go to a separate fund. For example, our capital projects fund, if we decided we needed funds in that fund. Having brought this to the Finance Committee, administration is now requesting that the board adopt our designated interest earnings resolution.
And as stated, again, this came to Finance Committee, and it's really to keep that fluidness for our funds. It doesn't stay there. So again, more procedural in nature. But with that, I need a motion to adopt the attached resolution to designate interest earnings for the fiscal year 2024-2025 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lee, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries, and that will bring us to positive occurrences. We'll start around the table. Go.
Oh, B. Okay. Oh, I had a few. Prom was just this past Saturday, and oh my goodness, the kids looked amazing and handsome and beautiful, and the dresses and the tuxes, and oh, it was great to see everybody out. Also, so proud of our students for how many donated blood. That was an impressive number. I do have to include my son in that. He didn't inherit my needle phobia, so I'm so proud of him for doing that. And what else? Oh, this past Friday, we got to go to breakfast to honor Miss Bennett for the Whitney M. Young Junior Awards. It was quite the honor to see her get her award. And also, I am humbly grateful to the voters to be allowed to serve our community for another 4 years on the board. And we need to get our running shoes on because today starts we got something every day, May month.
Anyway.
Guys, are you got something, or are you having a side conversation?
Sorry. Okay, so I got to join Julie for the volleyball games, and the JV actually won both of their games. And I was actually really delighted. I know I always say this, but it's so nice to see the kids just cheering for each other. It's so cute. They're just really supportive, and even when they just were having a down moment where they weren't maybe doing it, they're like, yay! It was just cute. And then I actually wanted to comment on the prom also. I think we do a really good job with that. I think we all know that there are pros and cons that always happen with prom. I feel like the way we handle it is really thoughtful, with having them ride the buses to the venue and then the party afterwards if they want to go. It's just a way to kind of create a safe narrative for the children for the after party, and I just think it's a genius idea that you guys came up with, and I'm proud of us as a district for promoting kind of a safe space for the kids to kind of party, as it were. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Thought the stakeholders advisor group was that was pretty cool, and it even got better the second time because I think people are starting to get a little bit more comfortable with each other and engage in conversation a little bit more. So yeah, 2 thumbs up.
So just echoing some of those same things, prom, it was really nice to see all the kids, the stakeholder advisory group. And then went to the athletic signing today. So again, always great to see those students who will, bring Round Lake's name to that next level with their athletic and academic leadership. So that was great to see. And then I just really wanted to comment, I know Dr. Mendoza had it as part of his report, but the interviews, I know he read Brianna's name, my daughter, who came back, who works as a scientist at AbbVie and is now going back for her doctorate degree. But for the community to hear that, how important it is to come back as an alumni, for students and teachers to see where you're at and what you've accomplished and let them know what you can do is so important. And she was just so grateful for the opportunity to be asked and just the feedback that she got from students and from teachers. So I just really want to encourage alumni to come back.
Spring musical was awesome. That was since our last meeting. In addition to that, also NHS inductions went through a lot of great student representation there. That was awesome to see as well. Yeah, and pretty much everything else that everybody else touched on there. It's amazing what this community can do, what these children can do. And to echo Miss Lee's statement, just honored by the community to be given the opportunity to serve for yet another 4 years. And then honored by you guys to be given the opportunity to lead as president for at least the next 2. So thank you for that.
I got one more. So I wasn't sure when to bring this one up, but with the project Lead the Way, I thought it might be a really good time. So I want to say about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, I had an idea and I said, well, I've got this business thing that you guys are all aware of, and I was wondering if maybe the students wanted to use my waffle business as maybe a sandbox, as maybe they can use for social media or something. And Jen said, that sounds like it would be a great idea. And so connected me with the teachers and then the advisors. And I got an opportunity to meet last week, got an opportunity to meet with the students, and they're going to basically design my social media calendar. And we're going to start to engage in a conversation of what that might look like. The thing I thought actually was really cool from that, well, two things. One is they said, what would success look like for me? And I said, actually, success would look like if we engage in this and they got an opportunity to do something with this, that would be success. I think that would be cool because whether it comes of anything, I don't actually care as much as giving them an opportunity to kind of play with something that actually does real business and generates. Thinking I was being generous needs to know that actually a couple of the students actually already have their own business and they have their own design business and they've got business cards, and so I'm actually behind. But this came out of, what's really cool is that a couple of the seniors, this actually came from them working every year, and two of the students decided to kind of go out on their own. And which is exactly what the intent of, one of the intents of the program is that gets them to build. So I'm encouraged by the students, the questions they asked, the opportunity, the community. I don't even know if they know this resource here, which is really pretty awesome.
I have one more thing as well. It reminded me when you were kind of speaking. I know it's Teacher Appreciation Week, is it not? Right? So again, it's just want to thank the teachers and staff here at Round Lake, especially as an alumni myself. All the work that they do. And as I mentioned, how Brianna coming back for teachers to see the fruits of their labor, so to speak. Again, it's really just, I know it's only this week, but we thank them every day.
I'm just all about the thanking of the faculty and all that they do for Teacher Appreciation Week. And thanking the people of the Round Lake area and allowing me to be part of the school board again, and for all of you guys believing in my ability to step in when the big man isn't available. So thank you.
All right, next up then, future agenda items. Anybody? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to convene in closed session as permitted by statute 5 ILCS 120/2 for the purpose of discussing the following. Closed meeting minutes 5 ILCS 120/2C21, employment matters 5 ILCS 120/2C1, purchase or lease of property 5 ILCS 120/2C5, and litigation 5 ILCS 120/2C11.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Lee, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. That will take us to closed session. For those attending online, we will come back out of closed for open session and action resulting from. So we look forward to seeing you then. All right, that will bring us back to open session, and we have action resulting from closed session.
All right, need a motion to approve the dismissal of probationary teacher as listed in the memo.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Klingler, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Motion
Mrs.
carries.
Klinger?
Sorry, I thought you already said yes.
Yes.
Motion still carries.
All right, we're on to minutes. I need a motion to approve the April 21st, 2025 regular board meeting closed session minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Miss Lee. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett? Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the April 28th, 2025 special meeting superintendent's evaluation closed session minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Miss Lee, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera?
Yes.
Mrs. Negretti McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yep.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Motion carries. And we are adjourned at 10:11 p.m. Everyone have a great evening. Thank you very much.